Hello and welcome to Rogue Sale Podcast. We're here with Bernice Moore. You are a Marine veteran, and let's just start. When did you join the military and talk about your military service?
I joined the Marine Corps during Vietnam. I'm from a military family, and my brother and my brother-in-law were serving, and I wanted to do that. So I joined the Marine Corps when I was like 20 years old.
And what year was it?
1967.
Oh, wow.
And served for a couple of years. Didn't like it much, but operated mainframes in Kansas City, served in Pendleton. Mm-hmm. Also one of the first Marines to operate computers, woman Marines. So that was like a first. And I served honorably, did my best. And I liked, we paid the Marines and that were serving, and I liked doing that. And I felt pride about paying people until I ran into an ex-Marine last year who said he served in Vietnam and he never got paid the whole time he was there. And I thought, oh, bummer. Can we fix that? And he said, no, too late. But it's like I felt like it was an honorable service and paid people and operated mainframes, learned to love computers. And I did like Kansas City, old city. I was there when Martin Luther King was assassinated. So it kind of exploded in that time. Yeah. Wow.
And this sounds ridiculous, but I'm just curious what the computers were like back then.
They're mainframes. And what we have now in our iPhone was like out of sight. We had an IBM 360 megs of, that's like hardly anything.
That was the memory?
Yeah. And it was like, for me,
I think your refrigerator has more memory in it now.
No, your watch has more memory, right? All of that. And for me, it was like interesting. The path to get there was like I had come from Pendleton, where I was operating in a mainframe environment. Pendleton was my gunny. I think gunny sergeants are a gift to the world. But gunny sergeant said I wasn't safe there, being stalked and harassed every step I took. And he said, you could go to Japan or Kansas City. And I didn't like to be spit shined as much as I'd need to be in Japan. So I said, go to Kansas City. It was a right move. But once I was there, they did everything they could to keep me out of the computer room. Everything.
Why? Because you're a woman?
Because why? Because it's like, how those machines work. It's like strange what they prevent and what they facilitate. But for me, so they had me typing. I hate typing. I'm fast because I'm a good typist. I played piano most of my life. So I was like fast typist. And so I would get bored and wander around. So I got in trouble with the lieutenant, and he said, what are you doing walking around? And I said, I get so bored. And he looked at my stats and said, you're doing so great. Yeah. And I said, I thought I was going to be in the computer room. And so he made him put me in the computer room, and they wouldn't do it. They put me in the tape library, where a good girl should be, right? In the tape library. And he came walking through to check on me and, hit the roof, right? So I was grateful for this lieutenant who just said, you got to do this. Is her MOS. I don't even know what the MOS stands for. That's your job, right? You both probably know that. And so then I operated mainframes. And as a woman, first woman, you just worked very hard to do super job. Never complained, never asked for help. Yeah. Except the fun part was developing kind of code with some of the developers. It was a good group of men and women.
That's amazing. There. So you were developing code in 1967, 1968?
Especially DOS, which was an operating system. I don't know if you've done computer code development. DOS was a foundation for a long time. The JCL, job control language, where you could make the computer do things.
I remember DOS when I was a kid.
Yeah. It's now it's way more sophisticated than that. I think some coders can get back in DOS still can. I don't know if it does, but it's so simple and tells the computer what to do in a simple way. But it's a long time ago. Now I was like, and maybe they still have mainframes that are that big, but they're doing other bigger stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, now a terabyte fits in a tiny SD mini cards. It's insane.
Yeah.
So what'd you do after you got out of the military?
Well, when I was in, it's like let me frame Vietnam a little bit. It's like my dad.
Yeah.
He was a career military, went to West Point, and my grandfather he didn't go to West Point, was career military as well. My brother went to West Point. My brother-in-law went to West Point. My brother went to my two brothers. That's that's what he did. And we were stationed in Hawaii, and he was an early advisor as the French fell. This was in the 50s. Mm-hmm. And I may have told you this story. He went there and he came back and he wrote a letter to the chief of staff, right? The military, who was a friend of his, and said, don't do this war there. Don't get involved in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, in response to that, as the war heated up, and he was sent to Winooski, Vermont, to an Air Force base to bide his time there during the war. My brother was killed when I was in the Marine Corps. He was killed in Vietnam. He was a helicopter pilot. And my brother-in-law nearly killed. And that'd
be so difficult, that knowing that your dad, a career military officer, knew that this was going to be a horrible war, warned against the war, and then lost his son in the war.
And I mean, that's a hard truth, isn't it? And that knowledge wasn't through the family. Like, everybody didn't know. It came to light after. It's like my sister, my oldest sister, didn't believe that to be true, but my mother believed that's why. And she never liked Vermont for that reason, right? But it's like, it was hard coming out of the Marine Corps for me and trying to go to college, and protesters closed the colleges down because of bombings. You know, the war heated up and heated up and heated up. And for me, I left the country for a period of time. I was lost.
Where'd you go?
I went to Europe. I went to Africa, West Africa, traveled, and just was gone.
Because I asked because it isn't uncommon. I have a friend who was a Vietnam vet, Joe Cantrell, and he's from Oklahoma. He's Native American, and he joined. And when he left Vietnam, he stayed there. And he became a photographer.
Oh, wow.
And he just stayed. He left the country for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And before coming back.
Yeah.
So it seems like you must have felt like maybe you don't even have a country, you know?
Well, there's a part of that. That's true. I think for me, the hatred for the service people at the end of Vietnam was very painful. It's like my family really, because my sister was protesting the war in Haight-Ashbury, and I just was kind of lost, but it's like it just came unglued, my family.
I can't imagine how painful that must have been.
I think
to see your country turn on its own veterans.
I think I hid my being a veteran for a long time. Mm-hmm. I just pretended, I didn't let anybody know that.
But you gave so much. It was so hard just for you physically, personally, mentally. You have to deal with all of this bias for being a woman. And then your brother gives his life, and then you see them turn, and they don't even understand why they're upset at you.
Well, it's true. I think, though, when I speak about anybody who lived through that era, and if you look back historically, it's like a lot of trauma throughout the country. I have a good friend who I met when I was doing a lot of intensive practice at Insight Meditation Society in Massachusetts. And he was a long-term meditator, and he felt like he was injured. He couldn't go, but he was afraid that he would be drafted. And he felt like he carried this trauma. It's very, very different, right? From me, I just felt like losing my brother was very, very painful. And something that, just from some of the writing that I've done, just try to integrate war is like so painful and destructive, and we don't seem to be, as human beings, to be able to get off that track.
Because as painful and horrible as it is, it's so easy to glorify the warrior,
Well, we like the conflict, we like the stimulation of it, we like to be heroes as humans, right?
Yeah.
And as we go through time, we create more and more destructive toys, right? More and more destructive ways of gaining power. And for me, it's like when I left the Marine Corps, I was gone from the country for a while, came back to the States, fell in love, got married, had a very serious auto accident, and then went to Naropa, which is a Buddhist university, for like a summer.
What led you there?
I in this auto accident, I nearly died, and I felt like, wow, time is short. I know what death is from my brother's death. And my friend died in the accident. I said, I got a little money. I'm going to
But why would you pick the Buddhist university?
I wanted to meditate, right? And I had been studying. I've practiced Zen. I started with Zen. I mean, it's like framing the Vietnam War, coming out of there, coming back, and trying to make a life. It's like I really feel for veterans because it's not easy. Right. As both of you know, it's like it's to integrate back into the world. And for me, it's like something in me was hungry for peace of mind, so hungry that I would take my body and put it where I could learn from some of the greatest masters in the West. And Chogyam Trungpa, no longer alive, was a phenomenal Tibetan teacher. He established Naropa and just had started in the 70s when I went, and began a path of being able to do what they call intensive practice, which is long meditative work.
Yeah.
And found for the first time in my life peace of mind. And
how do you find that? I mean, what do you learn when you go to this school?
Well, for me, the intensive practice, I also was studying music, which is another love of mine. But it's like to be in your body in the present moment, noticing and befriending whatever's going on. That's what you learn how to do.
Seems like that a lot more people might need that nowadays.
Well, I think we need it. You know, for me, it's like the path. It's like I didn't know how important it would be to follow that path. And after Naropa, I did a retreat with Jack Kornfield, who's kind of a famous Buddhist teacher in the West, and went to Insight Meditation Society with my husband at the time. And we just said, we're going to stay and learn. And I did a lot of long practices, but it saved my life. You know, I have this strain of self-hatred and wanted to end my life for who even knows why, right? When those things are in us, right?
Yeah.
And the practice enabled me to have wholeness and sanity in the midst of this world of ours. It's trouble.
So you think that the meditation and the Buddhism saved your life?
Absolutely. Over and over again.
And I see a pattern. I mean, I don't know, dozens or hundreds or dozens of Vietnam vets, but I do know some. Riley King.
Yep.
He charged Hamburger Hill like 12 times, and they made a movie out of his unit. He believes in Buddhism, Shambhala, way of the peaceful warrior. Dale, point is like the Vietnam veterans that I do know have kind of gravitated towards this Buddhism, not as I wouldn't say as a religion, but as a philosophy,
as a way of life. And it's a confluence of factors, right? It's like the end of the Vietnam War. Thich Nhat Hanh, very famous Buddhist teacher. He didn't come to the U.S. He did fabulous work with veterans. It's like it's like just great honor and respect. He died last year or early this year, but he worked a lot with veterans, and there was an explosion of Buddhist teaching. It's like people who had, kind of been lost in the 60s travel, like Jack Kornfield, Joseph Goldstein, Sharon Salzberg, went to India, went to Burma and studied. And so then they come back. And one of the best things about our country is we have freedom of religion in our constitution. And so Buddhism could take root. And Suzuki Roshi from Japan, a Zen practice, Zen influences started, and Chogyam Trungpa, Tibet, the destruction of Tibet as a nation sent Tibetans all over the world trying to find safety, and they landed in the U.S., found fertile soil in the U.S. and in Europe and other parts of the world as well. So the confluence, I think, made it rich, right? And I think the Vietnam War was so damaging and trauma. I don't want to overuse the word trauma.
Yeah.
But it just like it was in our face, like one of the wars that was really publicized, and the images. Yeah. Very, very present. Now we hide it a little more now.
But I think it's important to use the word trauma as much as you need to, because it was trauma on individual levels. There's trauma on a national level, on a community level.
And internationally. You look at Vietnam, and the people of Vietnam is like they're just still recovering, right? It's like they still have birth defects from children who have been exposed to Agent Orange. And it's like vets now, the PACT Act was really So helpful for people who served in that arena. But it is, it's like for me, what using trauma, maybe we define it, because trauma is like a deep injury that's carried in the body.
Yeah.
And the mind hides it, from what I understand. The mind hides this, right? We pretend it's not there, and it'll flare up like PTSD, post-traumatic stress, an incident like that. And where mindfulness, I'm going to riff for a little bit.
Yeah, please.
Great.
And where mindfulness helps us notice. It's like when you start noticing, and with a loving kind of quality of noticing what's going on within yourself, you start noticing, and then you know that you've had trauma. You learn to uncover it in ways that are safe, but you can feel a PTSD incident arising, which gives you that window to do something different. Right. Instead of going for the drink or the numbing quality, you can say, "Ooh, take a breath. Come back, befriend myself right here. It hurts to be in this trauma reliving state." Very hard, I think, to heal trauma.
Yeah.
And you can't do it by yourself, unfortunately. You really need help. And we in the West tend to be so individualistic and not ask for help. And veterans are a proud group, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So I hear you're talking about like Buddhism just kind of happened at the right time, the right place, or at least the right conditions for it to grow. Do you think it's possible for that same type of I don't know if it's popularity for it or use by veterans, by today's veterans? I mean,
I would hope. I think for me, as somebody, it's like I had a period where I began teaching in earnest. I've always had a practice since I was in my 20s, right? So it's like a very steady, grateful for the practice. It has helped me in every situation I've been in. But I began teaching when I had just lost everything and had Lyme disease as well. And so I had everything that I had counted on. A teacher befriended me, and I learned how to be a teacher. And so I continued to teach. And it's like, for me, veterans, I have a sweet spot in my heart because, and I think how to create a mindfulness program that veterans can attune to and feel appreciate and have room for in their lives. I work for a company called eMindful, and we did a whole series of programs for vets with a trauma-centered group. And so there are practices that are particularly helpful. And the kindness, I mean, one of the phrases I learned from a vet that was in one of my classes, it's just like sometimes you hit the wall, right? And things are so difficult. And he was talking about that. And I said, "What did you do?" And he said, "I decided to give myself a little grace."
Yeah.
And that stays with me. And that's what you learn. You say, okay, I'm in this bad experience. Now, the Buddhist training is training the mind. So it's like in befriending yourself deeper and deeper, whatever's going on.
Right.
To bring a loving kind of awareness, an awareness with kindness, so that whatever your state is, you can be in it with some gratitude. And that's you. The three vets here in this room know that that ain't always easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you can say, wow, this is really a painful experience, and notice, oh, this is really a hard experience.
Yeah.
And then the grace can come in. And the more you practice, the more it's sort of like there's a magnet, I think, between the human being and deeper states of awareness. And they begin, if you devote a little time to it, then this healing, loving quality of life itself just shows up more and more. So how, that's my thought, how to bring it to veterans. Because for me as a teacher, I don't have a lot more time where I can be out there teaching. I have a little group that I teach here in town, a dedicated group. They inspire me every day. And, but I think how could this, because you can do short things that help, right? If you do what a mindful check-in, where you just sense your body wherever you are, bring the breath into the body. So
let's do it. Like, so if you're feeling like you have some trauma coming on, post-traumatic stress, and you feel, okay, I'm going to have this episode, I can feel it. And my body's changed. I know this is happening. What would you do at that point?
First step, get to a safe place, somewhere where you feel safe. And you have to help me here, because the last time I had a PTSD experience, it's like I was driving on a very mountainous road, and it's like couldn't pull over. So I think get to a safe place, right?
Yeah.
Stop and then feel your feet on the ground, and then breathe. Or feel the palms of your hands. Everybody has a different way of being in the body, right?
Is there a way of breathing?
Well, there are lots of different ways of breathing. Belly breathing. And some, for trauma, sometimes you breathe belly, chest. And another clue is like exhale longer. And that helps regulate your nervous system. So if you find, I can feel it coming, stop. Settle in a place where you're comfortable. Breathe out. Let the air fall in.
And you're realizing where you're at, how you're interacting with your surroundings.
And with yourself. Right. Notice where you are.
Yeah.
Feel your own presence, right? I'm here. Feel my feet on the floor. Feel the breath in the belly. Breathe a little deeper. Exhale a little longer. And just let yourself be for a moment.
That's got to be so tough because there's so many distractions today.
Absolutely. Who wants to stop and sit still? It's like the world is against this.
Everywhere. And you got all kinds of social media to waste time at.
That's true.
And it's really tough to just say, hey, you know what? I'm actually standing here on this planet.
And you can say, wow, maybe it's time to turn away from my screen in this moment. Give myself 5 minutes. I don't know. Everybody's different, but it's true. It's like, for me, it's like I can hardly comprehend the gratitude I have for that time that I spent doing a lot of practice, because it has been a gift in my life that just gives and gives and gives and gives. And I didn't know when I was in my 20s how helpful
nobody knows anything in their 20s. No, but I just think they do.
Yeah, no,
they think they're adults even.
I know, and they don't want to listen to anybody. They don't know what to do. I raised 2 sons. I know how that is.
Yeah.
So I don't want to make this about me, but I have I have a specific question.
Sure.
Whenever I try to do something like meditation, and full disclosure, I'm schizophrenic. I have a lot of problems with ruminative thoughts coming into my head, and they just don't go away. What do I do with that?
Well, what have you tried?
I've tried doing like mindfulness, like you're talking about, the breathing that you've discussed. My therapist does with me, just exactly breathe through your stomach, then fill your chest, then fill your throat, and then exhale very slowly. And I do a lot of more sensory things where, like, I look for things that I can see. I smell for things I can smell, try to experience my environment. Things like that. And it feels more like distraction when I'm doing some of these things rather than trying to just live in the moment. And I don't know what to do with the awful thoughts that come into my head. So
they're awful, kind of destructive thoughts that come and they just...
Yeah, self-destructive.
Do you... So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's
and I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I'm glad to talk and see that, but it's like really, you'll have to experiment and see what's helpful.
Okay.
There is, the ones that are coming to mind are, there's a practice. I had a period of great difficulty emotionally for a number of years. And I draw it on a Tibetan practice where you just go lie down and look at the sky and breathe in the sky and breathe in the blue of the sky. And then your thoughts are like clouds floating by. I don't know if that would work for you.
That sounds kind of nice.
Well, if it sounds nice, it's like experiment with it and see, does this, because it's like if you can create, one of the things I love about I love Dzogchen teachings, which are Tibetan teaching, it's like in the clear light mind is a quality that you have. And it sounds like you're working hard to work with your schizophrenia. And that's a hugely difficult impairment, I'm guessing.
Sometimes.
So it comes and goes and it's managed.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's like if you can open the mind and let the thoughts, and sometimes it's like you can have an ecosystem of thought, right? Thunderclouds, and they crash through your mind, and you don't want to follow them. You want to have an observational stance so that you're witnessing it without separating yourself too much from your experience.
Okay.
There are edges about that, and I think experiment, see what works, because if the big sky mind and then the thoughts float, right? There are about 3 different analogies that seem to work for people. One is the big sky and clouds, and sometimes a storm system.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not the storm system.
I can really visualize that.
Yeah.
And you just said it right there that I'm not the storm system.
Right. But it's arising.
I often think that I am.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that's called in Buddhism. That's called attachment. We attach to that. I am this, right? I am my thoughts. My thoughts are true. It's a pattern that we have as human beings. And to separate may take a little work and see. It's like there's a quality of mind called the universal witness. We just step back and you're witnessing it arise and pass away. And sometimes you say, wow, I'm attached here. I'm really caught. And just noticing that opens a tiny window of space.
Okay.
There's a Viktor Frankl quote, between the stimulus and response, there's a space.
Uh-huh.
And in that space, I can choose my response. And in my response is my development and my learning.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, that's why I think what mindfulness opens, you can have a space. And for you, and with great love for yourself and compassion, it's not easy for any of us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have patterns, I used to have emotional patterns that were hugely difficult.
Yeah.
But the big sky would help me, and I'd go just out and lie on a rock somewhere.
Yeah, I love that idea of the universal observer. I mean, because that's what helped me out is like, I think I've done it just like, not because I was trained or anything, but just seemed to work, is like just looking at the stars at the sky and knowing like I am so small. So my problems have to be small too. You know, there's so much out there, so I can get through that, you know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk because I was really ignorant about all of this, because I kind of gravitated to it as well, just to learn, because I like the idea of not being attached to this thing, the life is pain because we're trying to hold on to everything. But if we're talking to veterans who don't know any better, and when we're talking like, hey, you should look into Buddhism or meditation, I just want some veterans who might not know that we're not asking them to change their religion or anything. It's more of a way of living than it is like a religious institution. Or am I
correct?
wrong?
Buddhism is a religion, and it's also a way of mind and a way of being with ourselves. It's like, I have a dear friend who's studied in Burma a number of years, and it's like, it's mind training, helping us work with our mind. And our mind, the definition of mind is the flow of energy and information that helps us regulate the body, the thoughts, and the emotions. And so veterans, it's like, no, don't have to be Buddhist. Mm-hmm. No, there's no creed you have to follow. There's nothing you have to say.
You don't have to start worshiping a Buddha.
No. But what you have to be willing to do is be skeptical and try it out and see, can a moment of being with the breath open a space where peace of mind can come. And because I think all of us, our inner selves, our presence is quite a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. And we have these patterns of thought, minds, and that are filled with difficult things. The world is filled with trouble. But if we can come back, just take a moment to be with yourself in a loving way, what can happen?
Yeah, because from listening to you speak, it's something that has come up in pretty much every one of our interviews. Mm-hmm. Is veterans are having a hard time transitioning back because they have lost purpose in some way, somehow. And when we were talking about purpose, we wanted to show like, hey, get involved in your community. Community service will give you purpose, or join an Elks Lodge or a Moose Lodge. But I know that not everybody will want to join a fraternal organization. Mm-hmm. This is another option. Mm-hmm. And you can still find that purpose without without having to go that route.
When it's a simple purpose, right? It's like the people that I've worked with over the years, and some of my students, and they start in a place of pain, and just do the practice over time, and they don't have to do huge amounts of it. And I'll give an example of a person that I keep teaching for this woman who's in her 90s, just started meditating a couple of years ago, and it has helped her family relations. And she's had a difficult life, difficult relations with her kids. But now she says she can talk to them without fights all the time. But it's like that's a purpose, right? To have relationships that are healthy and whole, and that your particular energy can be of benefit to those you love and to yourself. And it's not a religious purpose. It's almost like, can we learn to be in the present moment with ourselves in a way that is more healing to ourselves and others?
That's beautiful.
That's what keeps me going.
That's great.
But it's a simple thing, right? It's not a religion. You don't have to pray to anybody. You don't have to, but to be with yourself in a loving way is so hard for us, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And can veterans, the integration.
Giving yourself grace is hard sometimes.
Oh, give yourself grace. And can you just say that? Give myself some grace here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the second part of what we were trying to do to help veterans, fight together with veterans, our whole mission is really to try to stop veteran suicide in rural areas. So we were trying really hard to show people get outside, enjoy the outdoors. Oregon has so many beautiful places. And is that factored into what you're talking about?
Absolutely. For me, there's Shinrin Yoku, I think is the phrase in Japanese, and it's tree bathing. And I have tree bathing, and it's just walk in the trees. And there's a lot of research that shows even 20 minutes of walking in nature a day is helpful to your well-being.
The woods is definitely my happy place. So
if you go there, and it's like, even if these thoughts are coming up, you can feel your feet on the ground. And this is like, you can open to the experience. For me, I fell in love. I haven't been in love for a long time. And I fell in love with these large leaf maples that are blooming. Gosh, are they beautiful? And it just fills the woods.
Just with the petrichor. I love that. The smell of the forest after rain. There's nothing like it. And
so it's like, even if you don't do a practice, but Buddhism also, it's like meditation is a practice of noticing. So if you go to the woods and just notice. And I had a wonderful teacher of mine died a couple of years ago. She was a beloved teacher for over 30 years. And she would say, put 90% of your attention inside and 10% outside. So that's tricky, right?
Yeah.
So it means feeling your feet when you're walking, feeling your legs, feeling your ears as the sound hits your ears, noticing what you see from being within yourself and anchored in what is it? Thich Nhat Hanh in some of his teachings for children calls it, this is be home in your body, and then receive the beauty of the world as you walk in the woods. And because for me, it's like helping vets not commit suicide. I would do whatever. What can I do?
Yeah.
Because it's like the transition. I used to work with the program support services for veteran families when I worked at Clatsop Community Action and helping homeless, impoverished veterans find a place to live. And it's like it's hard to transition. I mean, I was lucky that I didn't die in my first 2 years out of the Marine Corps. Would have been so easy.
Yeah. I think there's some sort of a connection. I mean, I know there is. I don't know how I would put it in words, but the ability or the capability of being amazed by anything, everything, there's healing in that. And I've seen people who are so jaded and they're like, I don't care, whatever. They are almost proud by their ability to not be amazed by anything. And I always feel so bad for that.
That's a sad loss, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to feel the wonder and the beauty of the world and with awe is like, heals the heart.
Awe is a word that came up a lot in our travels around especially at the ranch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Bend, the Central Oregon Veterans Ranch, it's just a really amazing spot. Tell me about that labyrinth, or tell Bernice about the labyrinth.
Well, they had a labyrinth that they built, and do you know who built that labyrinth?
Toby Ray.
Toby Ray did it,
Yeah.
and he would taught meditation when we were at a retreat last summer. But he built this meditative labyrinth, and I got a little instruction ahead of time from I'm going to mess up the last name, Laura, at the Lauren, excuse me. Yeah, Lauren, about how to mindfully walk through their labyrinth. And it became a kind of a pivotal moment for me, because up until that, I was just trying to produce this documentary. And then I realized that I'm here to experience this just as much as I am produce it. And I felt benefit from our entire trip from then on out.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's like those pivotal moments. Right? You just walk on the labyrinth and be there.
I tell my kids life is a series of experiences.
And experiments.
Don't miss them on your screens.
Yeah. And I always try to, like when I'm eating, I always try to taste the different flavors. Like when I'm smelling something, I always try to like the different, like pull apart the sense of it, or even with just to try to experience it all, you know?
Well, it's to be really present, right?
Yeah.
With whatever's going on. It's like, and if you have a pivotal moment like that, that's sort of like me at Naropa. I had this pivotal moment, shifted my whole life. So you do the walk in the labyrinth, and your part in creating this documentary, just it loses the self, right? That there's something unfolding here that needs your guidance and your love and your attention. But the documentary needs to be created for the well-being of everyone, all the veterans in Oregon and elsewhere, right? But that's being connected with the energies of life itself, which is awesome.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping that our podcast, any one of them, our documentary, always can be used as a sign if somebody's looking for a sign to like not kill themselves. And so if somebody just happens to be listening to this podcast and they get to this part and they're like, this seems like it's might be a good idea, what would you tell somebody if they want to get more involved in the meditation, the mindfulness, the Buddhism? Like, what would they read, or is there a place that they go?
What's their first step?
Big question mark for me. And everybody's different, right? Yeah. It's like if people are in the podcast and they reach out to you, I'd be glad to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
There's a plethora of books, the field of mindfulness. Here, there's the Zen monastery in Clascanine. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, for me, there's so much online. It's like, that is like, it's mind boggling that what's available. It's like I use a timer called the Insight Timer that has lovely meditations by very good teachers.
Online?
It's a little app, and it's a timing app. You can time a short meditation, but I think Jack Kornfield has recordings on there. I mean, it's like, I'd be glad to talk to somebody.
I believe the VA even has some.
The VA has had mindfulness programs. They have. I know in Portland they had a funny experience with eMindful where I teach. It's like even they paid eMindful for teaching, and then they had nowhere to teach. It was sort of one of those blunders of the VA and between eMindful. So, but it's been, mindfulness is part of a trauma. Recovery is part of a helpful mix, right? Because it helps you notice, be in your body, and has tools that can help you, whether it's walking in the woods or eating and noticing what you eat. And people who are interested, it's like, what to read? It's like I read widely everything.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites is Larry Rosenberg's book called Breath by Breath. And one of the Buddhist teachings is a wonderful teaching. It's a way of working with the breath, breath by breath. And Larry Rosenberg is a teacher. He's no longer so active in the Cambridge area, but started the Cambridge Insight Meditation Center.
Oh.
And but breath by breath, because he talks about this teaching, and it's like you're aware of the breath, and you start with breath in the body, and then you become aware of your thoughts by staying anchored in the breath. And that might work for you is if the blue sky doesn't work, is breathing in, aware of activities of mind, breathing out, aware of activities of mind, and begins to help create distance. But
no, I have big blue sky, and I have tree bathing to do today.
Yeah, that's great. Tree bathing is like
How did you say that again?
Shinrin yoku.
Okay.
Tree bathing is like.
So what did she say? You say it.
Shinrin
Yoku.
Shinrin Yoku. Okay, cool.
It is, and they do it in Japan, and it's like a healing practice where you just walk in and bathe, just because the trees are so loving.
Yeah.
Talking about awesome. And here we have the most beautiful trees.
Oh my gosh.
What was that?
We do.
That hike we just did with the old growths at the beach?
Oh, on the way to at Cape Falcon.
Yeah, that was really amazing. It's
so beautiful.
Old growths out there.
Where is that, Cape Falcon?
That's just south of Cannon Beach.
Oh, I'll have to go because old growth forest.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
So it goes. The hike is, what do you think, a half mile?
Yeah.
It's a pretty short hike.
Mm-hmm.
Then it opens onto an amazing beach, the Short Sands Beach.
Well, I'm going.
Which is Short Sands Beach, Smuggler's Cove, Cape Falcon. Mm-hmm. It's all the same place.
Nice. I'll head there because the old growth, but it's like if somebody's looking, and sometimes it's like the resources are so close at hand. Even doing a practice where you feel your feet on the floor and come back to the breath, right?
Yeah.
And extending the breath or extending the out breath. It's that close. And then walking in the woods and being present, just being there.
And don't feel foolish to be amazed by things. I mean, I say this all the time, like, it's okay to not understand stuff and be amazed. I mean, nothing really makes sense. We're on a ball of dirt floating in a void, surrounded by giant balls of fire and the icy nothingness that are just floating, and they're heavier than you can even comprehend what weight is. And it's just out there, So, I mean, it's okay to be amazed by stuff.
It is. It is amazing. And it's really miraculous. And I think lately for me, it's like so sacred. We just lose that quality. And it's easy to lose because things are difficult, and things are difficult on the planet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And relationships, everybody gets stressed because we feel the earth's difficulty within our bodies. We depend on the earth for our lives. And so I just notice everybody more stressed out, more challenged in their relationships. And it's like, oh, let me be a light in this wilderness as best I can. And if it takes walking in the woods, feeling my feet on the ground, being grateful. I think gratitude is a hugely like the wonder of the world, being grateful. It's like, life is short.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for being here and spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great.
This has been a great interview.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. It reminds me. I mean, you got to stop and just
connect with yourself. I think one of the practices is just feel your body and connect.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're lost in thought, it's okay. It's really a judgment-free way of being. And the more kindness you can bring into your own heart towards yourself, it's sort of like, for me, I teach a practice. It's called the loving kindness practice. And it's like, if you could plant this garden of flowers that are blooming with beautiful aromas in your heart, they just begin to have these waves of joy that they bring into your life.
That's good.
Anyway, thanks for having me.
Good note to end on. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Together with Veterans Northwest Oregon, or the Oregon Firearms Safety Coalition, or the Department of Veterans Affairs. You can find us at roguecell.vet or facebook.com/groups/roguecell. If you were veterans experiencing thoughts of suicide, help is available. Please call 988 and press 1 for veterans. This line is answered 24/7, so there is always someone to help. And with help comes hope, and hope saves lives. The second of the 503rd Road